I'm Kalani Giddey. I use he, they pronouns. I'm from Melbourne, kind of. I moved around quite a bit. I go to uni, I'm doing music industry at RMIT, Bachelor of Arts. I'm in a band called Tellerwood. We play kind of weird music that I don't really see in the scene at all. We've been a band for like over a year now, but like it's been in the works since since I was 15. We've got me on guitar and second vocals. We've got James on guitar, James Clothier. He plays some pretty weird stuff and it's super great having all that energy in the band. We've got Lilla on bass, Lilla Austin. She's great. And we've got Ollie Smith, who's like this insane jazz pianist who pulls out like these licks out of nowhere and he's so good at ornamenting the tracks. And then we've got Dom Scott on drums and he's just an alien and he does lead vocals as well. But yeah, that's the band. That's Tellerwood. We've been described as so many things. I think when we get asked the question, I say J-pop. It's kind of punky, it's kind of jazzy, it's kind of psychedelic. More recently, we're bringing in a lot more like math rock influences. So like just kind of breaking out of the 4/4 paradigm. We get compared to bands like Black Country New Road, Black Midi, Squid, Dry Cleaning. So like that kind of post-punk revival sound coming out of England at the moment. We're a bit different in like where our influences come from. So like King Giz is a huge influence on our sound, and like just the way that I've built up my pedal board and stuff like that is kind of to emulate those sounds that those guys get. We had like a big psych rock explosion in the mid-2010s where like every band was trying to sound like Tame Impala or King Gizzard or whatever. But I think after Amyl and the Sniffers came out, it was like, just like that, very specific Oz-punk sound. Like the singer isn't really doing much singing, they're just kind of yelling in an Aussie accent. And the guitars, like, there's like 4 chords, right? It stagnated through COVID, obviously, because you couldn't have live gigs, but just like the music that was around at the time was super samey. It wasn't doing anything cool. But I think definitely now, like coming out of 2022 into 2023, where it generally went was that a lot of these bands were super supportive of like having you play there. And I think like where things are going now, as far as like the community is, it's quite good. Like there's a lot more interesting music happening because, everyone was locked inside for 2 years with all the creativity and like nowhere to put it all. I turned 15 and was like, Mum, I need to do something with myself. Because at the time I was just playing so much Xbox and I wasn't going to go outside any more than I already was, but just like having like a school to work on, and seeing like Jimi Hendrix, like hearing about that guy for the first time was like, okay, I kind of want to go do that. Let's do that. Music became an outlet for me through a lot of the stuff that's happened over the past few years where I haven't had like any healthy coping methods. So it would just turn into, okay, I'm really sad. Let's go practice guitar for 8 hours until I'm not sad. And I'd do that a couple days a week because, I didn't have anything else to do during lockdown or like, when things were pretty crazy with like home stuff or friend stuff or whatever. Like it became, an outlet. It kind of like carried itself. It was like, okay, well, I've learnt this thing now. I'm gonna find something else to learn. It just continued because, I was getting better every single day and it was, I was making the good progress and that was really like, I actually might be able to do this, that was like proving that to myself really threw me in that direction more. Like, okay, we're actually gonna commit to this sort of thing and see where we get, all these Australian hero bands of the 2010s, like King Gizzard being the big one. It's like if those guys can do it, I can do it, sort of thing. And yeah, so far it's been pretty good. I've made so many friends and connections and it's certainly made me grow as a person. I used to be like super reserved. I didn't really say much. I didn't have many social skills. I just kind of bumbled my way through life. But I feel like I can manage myself a lot more now and I'm a lot more outgoing. I guess putting yourself up on stage is like the most vulnerable thing you can do. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like getting up there, guitar in hand, like, hair's all crazy, everyone's all hopped up on adrenaline. There's nothing like being accepted in a community, being able to play my music to these people that are just gonna show up at the show. It's like almost an electric feeling. There's no better feeling than really letting loose and just kind of giving yourself to the moment. playing off the crowd's energy is always so fun. Like getting the crowd interaction, seeing a mosh pit start. It's just like, we did it, you know? We actually did the thing that we set out to do. It's just been so surreal, like to actually see it come to a head, like, oh, fuck, we actually did it. I've always wanted to know how things work and why things work. I think it's a similar hunger that sort of came out of that, where the thing that pushed me over was Jimi Hendrix. You know, learning all this stuff about amplifiers, different guitars. I was met with this huge body of work and all this history to just kind of like dive into. That really like drew me to it. I think it was just like applying that on a greater scale to like all these other bands, and eventually I got to a point where I was like, I want to do this now. Like I want to find my niche to put all my energy into and like actually get stuff done that people are going to look at and go, wow. And people are going to like read, you know, a magazine article about it or something, or like someone's going to like photograph my pedal board and go, oh my God, what's this guy using? Like, I don't want to be famous, but I'd like, it'd be cool if someone like did a double take if they saw me in the street and they didn't know why, but they just go, I think I know that guy from somewhere. I don't like know who I am, but I like know, I have like a better understanding of myself now